Anvil, $245. Forge, $250. Belt grinder, $500. I'm getting stuck in like analysis paralysis and like worried about like getting equipment or just like not having enough skills or things. I'm just gonna use the things that I have in my house. I'm trying to figure out what makes an anvil. It needs to be heavy, and it needs to have a flat part. And it needs to be made out of iron. So, people go to the gym to cut weight, and I'm gonna make something to cut using this weight. See this bottom part? That's a flat area. I'm gonna flip this upside down and put it into the ground so it doesn't move while I'm hammering it. This is so heavy. Okay, now we need a forge. Yeah, normally these forges are hot enough to get a piece of steel up to about 2,000-ish degrees. And they're usually run on, I guess, gas? I'm thinking I can make a forge with a metal pipe, a blow dryer, and a bag of charcoal. And also this. Goodbye, aloe vera plant. That is a work of art. All right, time to use this whole forge, I guess. Well, that didn't work. I have not used this in years, and I should have checked if it worked. Oh, there we go. It worked. We have some old metal things here. I think I'm gonna use the rebar. Right here. I'm gonna see if I can use this to make a knife. I have no idea how long this is supposed to go, or I can't even tell the color of the fire. It is so hot right now. Shit. What the f am I doing? Oh, this is so cool. I was only able to get it about this flat, and I am covered in sweat. It is so hard to like forge a knife flat. My left hand is insanely pumped. This is crazy, but this is so fun. I don't really know if this is actually keeping shape. I feel like every time I hit it and flatten it and I put it back in the fire, it gets its shape again. So I don't know what's going on. Okay, so I realized that every time I made this thin, it would like break off into the forge. So this rebar is definitely not the right material. Oh god, it's getting too hot. I can't even hold it. Rebar is definitely not the material to make a knife out of. I guess a Google search could have told me that. But yeah, this is a lot harder than I thought. And I think I'm gonna need a lot more help.
We will soon make a great stop at Nagoya.
I used to falling in love with love, but I'm breaking my habit 'cause you turn me on to my heart's desire. Now I'm dying to let you know.
So I went halfway across the world to go to the city of blades, Seki, in Gifu, Japan. It's a quiet countryside town that's famous for making katanas, where I met a master swordsmith named Yoshida Masaya to make a knife. We're gonna call him Shisho, or master from now on. We use steel that came from Tamahagane. This is so heavy. It's a rare iron sand and purified by hammering and folding over and over again.
Normally only certified masters are allowed to buy the steel, but Shisho, he makes it in-house. He even showed me the batch he made that morning. Some people don't even consider a katana authentic unless it's made from tamahakane. We got right to work. I was fumbling through my broken Japanese trying to understand him, but somehow we were able to communicate. We started by heating the steel and cutting it to size. Shisho moved fast. Every strike of his hammer shaped the metal with scary precision, then shaping the tip. After that, he forged out the tang, the part that goes into the handle. And it only took him about 10 to 20 minutes to do. Once he made a mini version of the blade, it was my turn. Flattening was hard. I couldn't control the hammer. It wobbled everywhere. Holding the tongs was awkward, and the blade just kept shifting. And since the whole setup was built for right-handed people, it was even harder for me as a lefty. Then he gave me the big hammer, and we started double teaming it, until it got to the right thinness. Then Shisho handed it off to his apprentice, who was from Texas? His name was Robert Guest. Turns out, he was already a master blacksmith in the US, and he's been training here for 3 years to become a master blacksmith in Japan too. And he happened to be on the show Forged in Fire, twice. We moved on to forging the edge bevel, the taper between thick to thin. He explained that in the US, blacksmiths often forged 50 to 70% of the blade and grinded the rest. But in Japan, where steel is rare and precious, they forged 90% of the shape.
With this, you can actually work with less material. And this also does something to the grain structure of the steel. You create and preserve a very unique pattern inside what's called the jigane with a hada, the actual steel structure. So there's advantages to it, but the idea is this material is so valuable. At the end of the day, after it's been worked, it's about $2 a gram.
Yeah.
So it becomes very expensive, so you don't want to waste it by grinding it away.
Then came shaping the blade with a file. No belt sander, just precision and patience.
And then our last step is going to be doing that process I told you where make everything straight called narashi. Clean everything out.
We used the sen to cut in the flat sides of the blade. Once we had the shape, it was time for the most difficult step, heat treating, the part that hardens the blade. Also, the step that makes or breaks the blade. We coat the blade in clay,
Now we're doing this on our own.
which creates a hamon, a wavy temper line caused by uneven cooling. The thicker parts of the clay cool slower, making one end of the blade softer while the edge stays hard.
Because if one area is too thick, right, that's not going to heat up the same rate as an area that's too thin.
Yeah.
So just like everything we've been doing, consistency is key.
Shisho has a completely different way of doing it. He does it all without clay. Somehow he controls the heat so precisely, he can form a hamon just by eye. It's insanely difficult. For every blade he finishes, he breaks 5. But that's why it's art. After baking on the clay, we heated it up until it was bright red.
See that color change?
Yeah.
Those dots?
Then we quenched it in water. Then Robert ground in the cutting edge and kept the black forge finish I asked for. Next came the engraving, which was a nightmare.
Oh man, this is gonna be really hard.
I had to decide which hand I wanted to write with and which hand I wanted to hammer, which is actually the same hand normally, but not in this case. Once I finally got my name on there, just a short version because it was so freaking difficult. We etched on the hamon with acid, attached the pre-made handle, and that was it.
Thanks, Robert.
My pleasure.
Holy crap, this is so cool. I learned a lot when I was in Japan, and I think one of the things I need to do is stabilize my anvil, which is like on the floor over there. While I was in the dirt, it actually tilted my anvil over, so I think I'm gonna cast in cement. I've never casted cement before. I'm just gonna...
Taste your words on the tip of my tongue. It's like poison running through my veins. But I won't back down. I will spit you out once again.
Another thing I had to do is make tongs, because once I start making a knife, I do need to stick the whole knife in there inside of the forge so then it can heat up, and I need tongs to do that. Instead of buying tongs, I think I'm gonna make it with the leftover rebar that I have, and then use that to make the actual knife. Another skill that I had a really hard time with was hammering straight. So, last time we used the blow dryer to blow air into the forge, and that was getting way too hot, and I didn't have a lot of temperature control, and it was burning the steel.
I wish I never knew you were gone.
I made 2 ends of the tongs. I bent them into S shapes, and now they fit together. And this is the part I've been dreading the most because I barely know how to do it. So I got one side in, and it does open and close, but it's so bent. Check this out. Oh. And it only took 6 hours of work because I'm garbage at blacksmithing. Nice. I wonder how long a knife's gonna take. Yeah, I gotta fix this anvil because it looks like it's shitting on the floor. Oh, damn it, that went all over my pants. All right, we got the 2.0 anvil. If it breaks, then I'm just gonna buy a real one.
Gotta make it to you. I ran out of time. I'm trying to find a way to make you mine. I'm on a love a day.
Something tells me that this is not an optimal knife shape, and I don't really know how to fix this.
End of the night to find you. Hey, I'm on a tight love schedule. I wasn't really looking until.
So today's session, I got this knife. I was trying to make like a nakiri shape because we're trying to make a specific blade. I was trying to get it used to forging straight and tapering it down. I thought this knife today would be a piece of trash, but it turned out to be okay. There's a lot of energy wasted just having the heat dissipate into the air. So I was thinking I can build a little house for my fire using these fire bricks. And that brick house worked a lot better than I thought it was gonna work because it melted a whole chunk out of the metal. Yeah, I effed up. So this line. Okay, I've been fascinated with one type of knife. Ever since I saw it on YouTube, I could not get this knife out of my head. I really wanted to make this sword into a knife. I've tried emailing the Reddit user that I saw that posted the YouTube video, and I didn't get a response, and it's been like a year. So
You can feel heartbreak. You're on the wrong day. What you will lose.
it's starting to look like an actual knife. Well, I'm pretty happy with this. Let's get to grinding. I only have this, but we're gonna have to make this. I'm a little scared because I actually really suck at drilling holes. Slightly crooked, and that's bothering the hell out of me. Check out my hole sanding technique. So now we gotta normalize the knife. I really don't know how it works. All I know is it makes the metal structure more normal or like even shaped, so then when you quench it to harden it, it doesn't warp as easily. So we're supposed to heat this up to a certain temperature and then let it air cool. And we're gonna go through a couple cycles of that. But yeah, I've been procrastinating on this a while because I just don't know what I'm doing. It melted in half. Ah! I guess I'm doing it all over again. I've been dreading this part the most, the heat treat or the hardening or the quench or whatever. It's where you take your red hot knife and then dunk it in the oil for it to harden. It needs to decrease in temperature at a certain speed in order to increase the hardness. If you don't do it properly, it can warp, or even worse, it could just snap. Yeah, well, here goes nothing. File should slide instead of cut into the knife if the heat treat works. Yeah, that is cutting into the knife. That is not working at all. This knife is soft AF. Oh, I gotta heat treat it again. It is still getting cut by this. It is not that hard. God damn it, I have to do it for a third time and it's warped too? Good news is that it is now hard. Bad news is there's a f***ing crack in there. I guess we're gonna time skip for 2 hours. Made 2 of them, just in case. These are both heat treated. These knives are gonna go in the oven at 400 Fahrenheit for 2 hours.
So right now they're really hard and really brittle, like glass. Putting it in the oven basically softens the metal so it flexes a little bit. So when you actually hit it against something, it doesn't snap. Rather, it flexes and absorbs some of that energy. I think that's how that works, but we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna cover it in beeswax, keep this forged finish. This black oxide is not food safe, and this is gonna be a chef's knife, so we gotta make it food safe.
I didn't actually get taught this, so this is gonna be my first time ever like grinding down a bevel. Robert did that for me in Japan. So
Got the time to show my love what it's all about.
I fucked up pretty hard. So these are the two knives. Sometimes I would like sand away parts on accident. I can't get this black forged finish again if I make a mistake. So I kept grinding and erasing away at the black finish. But what I didn't realize is that if I hammered too aggressively on the edge, the hammering actually left a pretty deep imprint into the knife that I just could not get out no matter how much I sanded it. Or if I sanded it more, there would be parts of the knife that would just like be just paper thin. And that would make a really fragile knife, and I didn't really want to deal with that. So I bought a drill press. And that's because I've been getting too much anxiety on how to make these handles. I was never taught how to make the handle because we used a pre-bought one in Japan, and we just put that in at the end. And I had to make this from scratch, and I suck at drilling holes. I was hoping not to buy any special equipment for this, but this is the one that I need to get.
There I go making yet another mistake. It's killing me to see that look on your face. Remorse is my fault, of course.
Handle's glued up, and it's time for the last step. Final chance of making the knife. Robert moved halfway across the world to master blacksmithing again, in a different way. His words stuck with me.
Underneath your hammer, you stay consistent. And that's the most important thing in blacksmithing is consistency. Even heat, even blows, even strength, even place. You want everything to be as consistent as possible.
Consistently learning every day. And Shisho, he makes 5 entire swords, just to have one survive. Sometimes that journey takes over a year. His art isn't in his successes, it's in his failures. I've never met anyone like them before. Maybe it's not about having the right tools, or the perfect timing, or even the certainty that it will work. Maybe it's about choosing the path that might warp you, crack you, burn you. One that forges you. That is smooth. That is freaking clean. Wait, push pull. Oh my god, that's sharp. This isn't perfect, but this is so cool. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.